Yo, this is Hood Action News Live. Hood Action News Live. We're going to get straight to the point tonight. Donald Trump just dropped a bomb, baby. He just dropped a bomb. Now, is this good or bad? If you want to talk about it, the link is in the description. So, Donald J. Trump just dropped a bomb on Iran. So, this is live. Donald J. Trump. The link is in the description. If you want to talk about it, if you got new information, if you want to weigh in about it, the link is in the description. But one thing is for sure, two things for certain, right? Donald Trump just dropped a bomb on Iran. The bunker bomb. Not Archie Bunker, the bunker, baby. You know what I mean? He dropped not the Archie bunker bomb, but he just dropped a bomb on Iran. So I want to get some details. If you haven't, if you got any details on how you feel about it, if you want to weigh in about Donald Trump dropping a bomb on Iran, the link is in the description. Let's talk. If you got new information, all you know it alls, conspiracy theorists, whatever you are, Democrats, Republicans, independents, people from Mars, whatever you are, let's talk about Donald Trump dropping a bomb on Iran. Did we want this or did we not? Or did Donald Trump tell them you cannot have a nuclear weapon, right? So did Donald Trump tell them you cannot have a nuclear weapon or else? So is it Donald J. Trump or Donald Draco Trump? So Donald right now is looking like Donald the Bomb Trump is dropping bombs. So let's take a look let's get some information.
This is a Fox News alert. News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran. Just moments ago, President Donald Trump putting out on This is a Fox News alert. News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran. Just moments ago, President Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. Again, this from President Donald Trump. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo.
Woo!
All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, that's just seconds ago from President Donald Trump on Truth Social, suggesting that those B-2 bombers that perhaps were on the way may have been behind this. We'll get more details on these 3 sites that the president said has been attacked inside Iran. This comes after days of negotiations to try to get Iran to the negotiating table. The president of the United States saying it would have to be unconditional surrender, saying enrichment would have to stop. We heard from negotiations in Europe that was not being accepted by the Iranians, that they would not stop enriching uranium. There was a thought that this could.
Hey, if you don't want to stop, you gotta go.
Would go as long as 2 weeks, as the president said he would decide within 2 weeks. However, 2 days is within 2 weeks. And now word from President.
So I'm gonna say this, right? So if you haven't did this research, right? I did a little bit of research on Iran. If Iran has a intercontinental ballistic weapon, bomb, whatever, right? I believe I think it's called an intercontinental ballistic weapon, which means a bomb that can shoot from Iran to another continent, right? If you look on the map, it's it's a straight line from Iran to like New York, Philly, DC. It's like a straight line over if you look at it on the map. So absolutely, if you look at that map, you would not want Iran to have a intercontinental ballistic weapon, a weapon that could fuck us up. Basically, if you for all you simple people like me out there, you don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. Look on your map, all you motherfuckers that got iPhones, whatever you got, look on Google Maps. You can see why you don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. It's a straight line to the East Coast. It's a little bit different than China. China would have to come over, they would have to go past Alaska, right? They would have to go over the top sort of through the ice to get to us. You know what I mean? Iran, it's a straight shot straight over the East Coast. So you absolutely you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So you can't negotiate with terrorists. I know you heard that shit, right? Now, they use that a lot to talk about relationships, but motherfucker, this is really terrorist. This is these these people want us gone. You like there's no negotiation. He gave them a timeline unconditionally. We want you to unconditionally surrender. He gave them a timeline. I'm sitting there watch. Listen, in real time this week, we sat there and watched the timeline. Like I'm sitting there every day, like, are these motherfuckers going to surrender or what? Right? Are they going to surrender their nuclear program or what? This is all over nuclear enrichment. Uranium. You need enriched uranium to make a nuclear bomb. This is all over that. It's not over nothing else but nukes, right? And if you look at how close Israel is to Iran, it's like Texas to California, maybe a little bit closer, maybe a little far. It's like it's really close. It's sort of like East Texas to Cali. That's how close it is. And y'all got nuclear weapons. It's like Texas. Listen, it's like Texas having a nuclear weapon, and they want to fire it over to California. That's how close Iran and Israel is, man. Now, all you mathematicians, if you want to look at the real square footage and mileage, feel free. But let's see what's going on.
Donald Trump, that these attacks have happened. Again, interesting that 3 sites have been struck by U.S. bombers. And this, again, we'll get more information about the exact targets and what bombs were used. We expect that the GBU-57, the bunker buster, the massive penetrator bomb, may have been one of those used. Fordo is a nuclear facility inside Iran.
The massive penetrator bomb. Pause.
That is roughly a half-mile deep underneath a rock mountain-like facility that has been said to be the site of a lot of the enrichment capability. Esfahan,
that's what she said last night, right?
Believed to be a storage facility for enriched uranium, and Natanz another part of the nuclear facilities. They have several throughout Iran. It has been long described as a very difficult and tedious effort to go after these nuclear sites. But the U.S., for the first time, launching an attack inside Iran. Again, the president of the United States saying all of the planes are out of Iranian airspace. The bombings do continue by the Israelis inside Iran as this back and forth.
So they went into Iran, In-N-Out Pizza, right? Now, maybe less than 2 days ago, right? No more than 2 days ago, I heard Donald Trump say that you know, they were like asking, are you going to send the I think it's the B-52 bomber, the stealth, basically the stealth bomber. Are you going to send that over there? He was like, I haven't decided yet. So while he was saying that, the shit was probably on the way. You know what I mean?
Fourth volley between Israel and Iran has continued for some 2 weeks. We expect to hear more about this operation, not only from the Pentagon, but perhaps from the White House, although the White House this afternoon.
Yo, listen, listen, this is, if you don't like Donald Trump, right? It don't matter if you do or you don't. One thing is for sure, is this motherfucker is not bullshitting. He not bullshitting, yo. Whether you like him or not, he not fucking around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like a lot of shit he does, but if you pull the it's just like, listen, if you a cop, right? You seen plenty of cop movies. If you pull the trigger too late, you're gonna get shot. So it's like, just like the cop movies. It's just like the cop movies. If you pull the trigger a split second late, you're gonna get shot. He pulled the trigger. He bombed. Now, what Donald Trump did, he bombed specifically bombed the mountains, the underground facilities that were in mountains, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm from Philly. I'm gonna say mountains. If you look, the mountains, whatever, however you want to say it, right? These facilities were inside the freaking mountain. So he bombed the mountain. The bunker buster bombs, basically, they go underground and they take out everything that's underground. Now, if you want to look at the specs on it, feel free to do your Googles or your chat GPTs. Your chat GPTs. What would you call chat? Like, you know how we say Googles, what would you call chat GPT? Do your chat GPTs? your chat GP BDTs? Like, what are you gonna call it? So this is why I'm gonna do this in real time. Let's find out what the fuck is the jet that he sent over. That's what I want to see. Let's find out. Let me see. I want to know more about what he sent over there. That's what I want to know. I think they say B-52 bomber. Let's see what. I want to know what. Yeah, there it is. I want to know what the fuck did he send over there. So I think this is it right here. Yeah, see this that futuristic shit right here. He did, yo. So Donald Trump just sent some Star Wars shit over there, and and listen, the pilots are somewhere eating chicken wings right now. So the pilots that they sent to Iran, they already back chilling somewhere right now. They went over there, bombed that shit, and they sitting back eating chicken wings right now. This is the B. Let me see. Let me enlarge this shit. So this is what Donald Trump sent over there. Now I could be wrong, but let's look at it.
Can also fire either conventional or nuclear weapons with deadly precision. Although the exact details are unknown, it's reported that the B-2 bomber reportedly cost $2.1 billion to build. One of their most expensive weapons is the B-2
This is what he
Spirit
sent
stealth
over there.
bomber. Designed to resemble a flying wing, this air assault vehicle is invisible to radar. It can also fire either conventional or nuclear weapons with deadly precision. Although the exact details are unknown, it's reported that the B-2 bomber reportedly cost $2.1 billion to build. One of their most expensive weapons is the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, designed to resemble.
See if I can find another video on. So the B2, I don't know why I said B-52. Is it B-52 or B-2 bomber? Let me see. B-2 bomber. Now, if you just joined in my channel, this is a live discovery channel. So for all you motherfuckers that are coming over there asking me why I don't know this already, this is live. It's called live discovery. It's called I don't know everything. It's live discovery. I'm just a regular person like you. You got people in the comments. You don't know what the B-2 bomber is. Everybody expect you to know everything. There is a point where you discover something and learn something new. You do know that, right? So look at this shit. Yeah, this is it, Jack. Yeah, this is what he sent over there.
Israel and Iran continue to exchange strikes, and the Trump administration waits.
So let me pull this one up. Hold up. Let me pull this one up. So if you're now joining me, this is hoodactionnews.com. Donald Trump just dropped the bomb on Iran. He dropped the bomb. Now, he didn't drop the bomb in the toilet. You know what I mean? He didn't have to go to the bathroom. He literally dropped a motherfucking bomb on Iran. You know what I'm saying? So for all y'all people out there, when I'm saying Donald Trump just dropped the bomb, he didn't have the runs, he didn't have to go to the bathroom. The motherfucker literally dropped the bomb on Iran. So that's what I mean. So this is the B-2 bomber, right? Because he dropped the bomb on the nuclear facilities in Iran. After this, I'm gonna try to pull up where he actually bombed. See if we can actually find that online. But this is what he used. This Batman stealth looking shit. This is what he used. So let's see what they're saying about the B-2 bomber. Why did I say B-52? Is that a group or some shit?
Its options. There's one resource drawing some attention. It's called the B-2 Spirit Bomber. It can carry a so-called bunker buster bomb capable of penetrating 200 feet inside a target. The B-2s are primarily located at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. And that's where we find CBS News correspondent Ian Lee. Ian, tell us a little bit more about this very impressive instrument, the B-2 bomber.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah.
Why do we get on the news and tell where our shit is at?
That bomber were to take off, it would fly pretty much directly over me. We've been out here waiting, seeing if it's going to take off, but this is a very special plane. It is a stealth bomber, and as you pointed out, it can carry a bunker buster bomb. This is the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. This is a 30,000-pound guided bomb that this plane can deliver anywhere in the world from this plane taking off from.
So look at the specs, right? It says penetrator bomb. Okay, part of the United States military arsenal, believed to have the capability of drilling 200 feet before exploding. Damn. So this bomb has the capability of drilling 200 feet before exploding. So if you're now tuning in, this is Hood Action News Live with your boy Post. Donald Trump just dropped a bomb. I'm doing a live discovery. It's live discovery news, right? Not we know everything news. We're trying to find out what the fuck is going on type news. You know what I mean? So look on my screen there. Donald Trump just dropped a bomb on Iran on the nuclear facilities. The B-2 bomber carries these bombs that I have on the screen. Bunker buster bombs. They should call it bunker ball buster bombs, right? Too many B's, right? So Donald Trump just dropped the bunker ball buster bombs. They have the capability now. The spec I have on the screen, they had the capability of drilling 200 feet before exploding. God damn, you did. So, yo, if they drop some shit on you listen, they drop this shit on you, it's a RIP. Now, this is war. So there's a lot of people losing their lives, right? When it comes to leaders and leadership and military shit, grown man shit. You ever watch cowboy movies? Watch cowboy movies. There's a lot of grown man shit going on, right? This is some grown man shit going on right now. This is you hide your wife and your kids. This is some grown man shit going on. These are big boy toy grown man shit. He just pulled out some Batman shit. This basically Donald Trump just pulled out the Batman shit. You know what I mean? Now, I don't give a fuck if you like Donald Trump or if you like Joe Biden, or I don't care where you are, left, right, down the fucking middle, up, down. I don't care where you are. The motherfucker just dropped the bomb on Iran. That's all you got to know right now. Tuning in to my channel, all you got to know is the nigga Donald Trump just dropped the bomb on Iran. That's all you got to know. I don't care. Now, if you like it or dislike it, I don't even know how I feel about it right now. I'm just like, yo, but I did see, listen, he gave them an ultimatum, right? He gave, we seen this back and forth between, it's bombs flying everywhere. We seen the back and forth between Israel and Iran, right? So Donald Trump gave Iran an ultimatum like, hey, you got to get rid of the nuclear weapons, right? Got to get rid of the nuclear weapons. Iran said kick rocks. So now he gave them a little bit of time. He went on the news and said, I'm giving them a little bit of time. I want to give them a little bit of time. He gave them a little bit of time. They don't want to budge. They told the United States and Israel to kick rocks. So he sent in the Batman shit, the B-2 bomber. So here we are. I'm going over the B-2 bomber. You've now tuning in. Donald Trump just dropped the bomb on Iran. He dropped the B-2 bomber. Now, like I said, the thing that jumps off the screen to me, it says has the capability of drilling 200 feet before exploding. God damn, you did. You know what I mean? Like 200 feet. Count 200 feet. I mean, this shit is just going through the ground. Does it explode in sections or some shit? Like, god damn. And remember, you're not dropping this from a chair, you dropping this from the fucking sky too. So you know that shit is going to go clean through the dirt and down. Now I wonder, does it explode in sections or some shit like that? But now the purpose of dropping these bomb busters was to go underground, because I gave you the specs on the screen, where to go underground and destroy the nuclear facilities.
Right behind me, and this is significant because it would be then targeting, if it were to go to Iran, the Fordo nuclear power plant. This is a power plant that's buried underneath.
Now they put this report out. This is before Donald Trump either dropped the bomb. He just dropped the bomb now. Just breaking news, right? I'm going back a couple to find out what the hell he was planning on using. This is what he was using. It's the B-2 Spirit bomber, the Batman shit. You know what I'm saying?
A mountain, and so this is really one of the only bombs that could even try to get down that far. The bomb can penetrate about 200 feet deep, and so
look, so you can look on the screen here, right? I don't know why we do this, but this is before he dropped the bombs. We basically told we told you can see on the map right there where the nuclear facilities are, right? Those two circle looking things. I don't know if you know what the nuclear is on, the one with the yellow, right? So obviously those were, I guess those are inside the mountain where they're enriching uranium, right? So all that means that Iran was getting the shit ready. Iran was cooking the shit up. They were putting the bombs together. You know what I'm saying? So this is where Iran was putting the bombs together. So we gave them an ultimatum like, yo, you cannot be in the basement in the mountain sitting on the fucking turbine making a nuclear weapon. We told them that you could not be sitting in the mountains, sitting on the turbine, smoking weed, making weapons, right? Donald Trump told them that, right? So they told us to kick rocks. So now, like I said, pulled out the Batman shit, pulled out the B-2 bomber Spirit, right? B-2 Spirit bombers. You got to put the word Spirit in there, right? Now, here we are. And I can say this, Donald Trump was not bullshitting.
This is why this bomb is very significant, and that's why we're watching this base closely to see if any of those planes are taking off. Now, if a plane does take off, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to Iran, but it does show that it could have that potential to go that far. And to kind of give you an idea, this plane could take off, travel all the way to Iran, all the way back without touching the ground. Of course, it would need refueling, but just shows the capabilities.
Damn. So, yo, Pete, now Pete, what he just said, he said that the B-2 Spirit bomber, it's got a high, what would you call that? Sky gas mileage. What would you call that, right? It's got a high, it can travel far on whatever type of gas or whatever it takes, right? And then come all the way to hell back. So you could be in the United States chilling in your crib and Donald Trump tells you, yo, I need you to go bomb some shit, right? Now, not that I'm making light of this is literally what it is. So if you're sensitive, log off, right? You sensitive, log off. You could be in your crib and Donald Trump tells you, yo, I need you to go bomb some shit. You fly over to Iran, bomb that shit, and come back and eat a cheesesteak. Come back and get some chicken wings. That is the B-2 bomber capability. You can fly all the way there on one tank of gas, bomb some shit, and then come back. That's crazy. That's wild. If you sit and think about it. Now, this is not the first time I've heard of it. Like, we've seen this before when they start making these type of things, but we rarely see these get used.
Of this bomber.
Yeah, it's remarkable. And the use of the B-2 would be a significant step for U.S. involvement. What factors come into consideration, Ian, as the U.S. weighs its options here?
There's so much at play going on if the U.S. were to use something like this. First off, the United States has bases throughout the Middle East. So far, Iran hasn't directly targeted those bases. If the United States strikes Iran, those bases could then be targeted, putting U.S. personnel at risk. And so that is one big consideration. Also, striking this power plant, could it destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities? Possibly. But also, would Iran then dig deeper or try to develop a nuclear bomb in another way? So these are all considerations. Also, you have to consider these planes too. These planes taking off, what are their routes going to be? If there's an emergency, can they be diverted anywhere? How are they going to be refueled? So there's so many things to consider just even before carrying out an operation. And
they got the aircraft carrier out there too.
The ramifications of bombing Iran.
Well, as Israel.
So, yo, there you have it. So, like I said, if you just tuned in Hood Action News Live, Donald Trump just bombed some shit. Just dropped a bomb on Iran. right? Now let me take let me take a look at the chats. So Tom the Flex, easy work MAGA. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like easy work to us, but kudos to the pilots that actually had to do this shit, because they just take orders and they fly the pilots and they got to do what they need to do. But I don't think it's over. Let me see what else my man is saying. It says people are going to protest like even more now. Yeah, they are. They should move to China if they're mad. Yeah, they got like, I mean, yo, people complained about LeBron James bringing chocolate chip cookies on a plane. So you dropping bombs and kicking people out of the country. People are going to complain. But the one thing I can say is, whether you like Donald Trump or not, can you imagine Kamala Harris in this situation? Like, I can't even fucking imagine that, right? And this dude is like, no, listen, I'm gonna give you a couple days, lay down your weapons and surrender, or we're gonna Batman the fuck out of you. That's what Donald Trump did. It's crispy, clean, clear. He told you what he's going to do in the news. Now, I don't agree with all his policies, right? I'm an independent voter, right? I'm definitely not liberal. Like, I'm definitely not. I'm an independent voter, right? But in this case, he fucking told them you cannot have a nuclear weapon, yo. And if you go back to the show I did, my last show that I did was telling you how Israel caught Iran pillow talking. That's how they knew. If you tweet death to Israel, or listen, if I'm your op and you tweet death to me, okay, I know that you want to kill me. And that was on social media. And we got your phones bugged. And then they call it intel. They got their phones bugged and they're finding out more shit. So, you know what I mean? They're finding out, like I said, they caught them pillow talking. That's like you being on the phone with your mans, like, yeah, we gonna go shoot up they block and all that. They caught you saying all of that. So I caught you pillow talking, saying you gonna come shoot my block up. And on top of that, you're on Twitter saying death to my country. So yo, hey, I'm gonna come bomb your shit. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. I'm definitely watching the game tomorrow. Now this is Alex. Alex, I'm definitely watching the motherfucking game tomorrow. I watch every game. They say that the ratings are down, but I'm a Hooper fan. So I watch all of the games. I don't know. Maybe the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Oklahoma City looking shook. I think the Pacers ain't got nothing to lose right now. They're already the underdogs. Oklahoma City's back is against the wall because they're playing at home. But they are playing at home. It'd be a good game. I don't know who's gonna win. But shout out to Alex Roberto G. Put some respect on my man. But I'm gonna go back to what he said here. Easy work. The shit is not over, man, because they're gonna try to retaliate, but they definitely can't make no fucking nuclear weapons. God damn. They took that shit right out. He told them you cannot have nuclear weapons. And you can see the B-2 bomber behind this news reporter right there. They send that shit over there. It's a wrap. And if I'm not mistaken, we had this for a while. So you we don't even know what's in the works. We had this for a little. I've been seeing this. I've been seeing reports on this for a little while now, on that B-2 bomber. So I don't know what else we have in the works. But that shit did seem like easy work. That shit was crazy. Cause 1 minute, listen, 1 minute, he was like, I haven't decided if I'm going to use it or not, which he was probably lying. Because you can't, like, why am I going to put out, like, put my full deck of cards out on the news, right? But was it easy work? I'm really sitting thinking about, was that easy work? Like, it had to have been. If the shit is over that fast. But is it over? That's what I want to try. That's the main thing I want to find out. Is this shit is, I don't think this shit is over with. But now, as far as the missiles going to Israel, that had, I can see that actually died down a little bit. The missiles going into Israel kind of died out. Let's see something. Let me see something. Let me see if I can. Let's see what they talking about out here. Let's see what they talking about out in the streets. But yeah, Donald Trump wasn't bullshit. No fucking bullshit. God damn. And see, yo, when you choose a president, not that any president is going to be perfect, but you want them to make a fucking decision, yo. And I don't want to know that, like, you don't have to know the decision in secret. This dude tells you exactly what the fuck he's doing.
Fair to say that Iran and Israel are at war, and we have now entered in as a party to that conflict on the side of Israel, obviously. And
that's the only thing, yo.
To it, the question is, what will Iran do? Will Iran now try to broaden the conflict to start targeting U.S. facilities, bases, assets, interests in the region and potentially out of the region? Will they try to do that?
You already know the answer to that.
Then I'm sure there's a lot of contingency plans, as I mentioned, branches and sequels of the current plan as to how to best address dealing with that. But I have to think that within Tehran, within the Iranian people, once this information has been disseminated, once it's been absorbed, once the information is sort of metastasized, if you will, within the body politic of Iran, there's going to be some very deep questions about the regime. And part of it will be, can they actually perform as a government to do that core function of protecting Iran and the Iranian people? And everything I see now says that the decision by the Iranian people, regardless of everything else, regardless of whatever they say publicly to any reporters on the streets or whatever, the reality will be, no, the government cannot protect the Iranian people, cannot protect the nation state of Iran. All right. So that's part of what comes out of this. So I think that's going to be something that we have to watch for to see if this starts to burble up into something, maybe akin to the momentous changes we saw in Russia, in World War I, where literally there were two Russian revolutions. One was to remove the Tsar, and then the other one was to put the communists, the Bolsheviks in charge, and eventually led to the demise of the family of the Tsar, or the Tsar and his family, I should say. And so we'll have to see if that's happened. And I just have to say, looking back, there's been many times where we've said, oh, this could never happen. The U.S. was looking at, in the late 80s, early 90s, we were looking at Eastern Europe, and we go, oh, this, it's been there. Nobody could possibly fathom the fall of the Soviet Union, and that happened so quickly. And it did. And as we're looking across Eastern Europe, it's like, okay, East Germany, but it would never happen in, other countries like Romania or something like that. And literally, as we're saying that, Ceausescu and his wife were taken out and executed. And so sometimes these changes can happen very quickly in ways that we don't predict or expect. And so I'm just, my thoughts are that we're going to have to really watch what happens in Tehran right now to see what the full response is politically, within Tehran, beyond the kinetics on the battlefield or, B-2 bombers, Tomahawk missiles, which I did mention I like. Beyond all of that, we're going to have to look at these.
Like the Tomahawk
these
missiles.
other things that are in play now that previously were not fully in play.
Okay, so we're hearing that Benjamin Netanyahu has spoken with Trump. Barak Ravid says such. We know that Trump has spoken with Barak Ravid, with Netanyahu, and he's spoken with Fox's Sean Hannity. And we expect Trump to address the nation from the White House at the top of the hour. 10 o'clock Eastern time is when we'll expect President Trump's remarks. I'm going to reset for anybody new joining us. The U.S. has struck Iran, 3 different sites. They are directly joining Israel's effort to decapitate the country's nuclear program. It's a gambit to weaken a longtime foe amid Tehran's threats of reprisals that could spark a wider regional conflict. There was no immediate acknowledgement from the Iranian government, although we did hear eventually that they did acknowledge that 3 different sites were struck. The decision to directly involve the U.S. in the war comes after more than a week of strikes by Israel on Iran that aimed to systematically eradicate the country's air defenses and offensive missile capabilities while damaging its nuclear enrichment facilities. A live look at Jerusalem. We continue to monitor the skies above the major metros like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. While I've been on the desk covering this breaking news story, I have not seen any activity in the skies above Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. It's something that we're keeping a close eye on. Hal Kempfer is still here with us. And Hal, I got to ask you, Israel is always on high alert, but even more so tonight in light of this?
I would imagine it would be prudent for Israel, certainly it's all of its air defense forces, but also to tell the population, stay close to bomb shelters. And the Israeli population is really kind of attuned to this. And I think they would do it intuitively, even if they weren't told. But I'm sure they were told everywhere, stay close to bomb shelters, be ready to immediately move. There's a very set way that they do this that really has been closely adhered to throughout the population, where they get the initial notice of a launch of ballistic missiles or drones. They get about a 15-minute notice, and based on everything I got, there's kind of like a almost within all the different Israeli families and households, there's kind of a procedure they sort of go through where they gather up certain things and stuff like that. And then it gets a lot closer, and then they get like a 2-minute warning or something, and that's where they go to wherever they got to go, their safe room or their underground, bomb shelter, if you will. And that's what they do. And I'm sure that was disseminated. Definitely when President Trump made his announcement, that was probably something went out, would be my guess, telling people to do that. Although the reality is that at this point, the Israeli population is so well trained and conditioned to this, they don't actually have to put out an announcement. They kind of just do it automatically. They're already there. It's like, just keep doing what you're doing, is be the announcement, and they're already leaning forward in that direction.
Al, it's approaching, we're about 25 minutes away from when we expect the president to speak. I'm going to ask you a question that I've already asked you earlier today, but we have lots of new viewers now, and I think it's important. What are you going to be listening for once the president speaks to the nation? Again, about 25 minutes.
Well, about 2 things, and we mentioned that we talked about this a little bit earlier. 2 things I'm going to listen for is, number 1, which we're getting more information on, which is battle damage assessment. Part of that too, again, is we just got word on the nature of what
just
was
bombed the fuck
employed
out
in
of
these strikes. You know, the B-2 bombers with the GBU-57s, those massive ordnance penetrators, those 30,000-pound bombs. 6 of those were used at Fordo. That tells me that when that text went out saying that Fordo is gone, 6 of those things hitting Fordo.
Damn.
Yeah, that kind of implies Fordo is gone. As far as
Fordo,
any
the
sort of
fuck
nuclear
going.
facility or whatever, it is anything underground has been completely wiped out. And frankly, with 6 of those bombs going in there, my guess is anything above ground has been destroyed or decimated as well. So that's gone. Then the other one was, and this is where we're kind of speculating, which was what would they do? And we didn't know if they'd use other types of weapons or it was just B-2 bombers. What were they doing at the other 2 sites, Isfahan and Natanz? And I didn't know if they had significant underground facilities that would require something on the order of a GBU-57. Certainly a very capable weapon, but maybe not necessarily the weapon that I would use at those particular facilities. Well, as it turns out, as we know now, that they use the Tomahawk missiles to hit them. So I'm going to be listening to the battle damage assessment. Well, how much was destroyed? What was the scope of how they were destroyed? What has this done to Iranian capabilities going forward? I'm going to listen to that. Then the other thing we'll listen to very closely is what is our intent now? Is this way a proverbial one and done? We did this massive strike. And by the way, we've done that in the past where we've done massive strikes and then there's nothing else we do. That's it. That was to create the effects that we wanted. And in this situation, we may not have to do much because we do this. We brought in our unique capabilities that could do the things that Israel can't do. And then we pull back and Israel just basically continues doing what it's doing and dealing with everything that comes after that. And that may be the plan going forward. And of course, part of that will be determined by what is Israel. I mean, what is Iran going to do as far as attacking our stuff and whether Israel will have the capability to deal with that or whether we have to step in and use our own sources, our resources like those 2 carrier task forces and other things that we have in the region. That will be the other thing I'm really listening for. So basically 2 things, battle damage assessment, where are we going from here?
Ever since October 7th, 2023, we've covered the Middle East almost on the daily here at Live Now. It starts with a Hamas attack on Israelis in southern Israel. We, of course, have watched the Gaza war play out ever since then. We've seen flare-ups between Hezbollah and Israel to the north, northern Israel, southern Lebanon. We saw
So if you just joining live now, Donald Trump dropped a bomb on Iran. So he dropped a bomb. The B-2 bomber has already dropped a bomb on underground nuclear facilities in Iran and is back already. So the B-2 bomber dropped the bombs and has left already. Now, the bunker buster bombs were used to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. What's going to happen next? We don't know. If you want to chime in on it, live into the chat. Let me know what you think in the chat right now. And I got the link in the description if you want to talk about it. If you want to give us insight, if you want to tell us how you feel about it, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, I don't care if you're white, blue, green, black, whatever. I want to know how you feel about Donald Trump dropping the bombs. He already told them you cannot have a nuclear weapon. They told the United States and everybody else to kick rocks. So now he pulled out the Batman shit, the B-2 bomber. And there you go. There you go. Now, Israel, they've been assassinating Iranian leaders all week, right? I don't even know. Listen, I couldn't even keep up with all the names because every time I go look up another name, they took out another person, right? So they're taking out Iranian leaders like, like goddamn, like dominoes, like you knocking down dominoes. They're taking out, So, yo, leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. I want to know how you feel about this. One thing my man said earlier in the chat, there's going to be more protests now. He said they should move to China if they're mad, right? Now, this is one thing I can say. Look at all of those bombs flying over Israel and shit like that. You're sitting from the comfortability of your own home right now with no bombs flying overhead. Now, I'm in Philadelphia. I can't say the same, right? Every day is a different situation in Philadelphia. Here in Philadelphia, it's always war, right? Now, this whole thing is the art of war. We said you can't have a nuclear weapon. They said, who the fuck are you to tell us we can't have a nuclear weapon? But this is why you can't have a nuclear weapon. I caught you. Now I'm talking about Iran and Israel. I caught you pillow talking with your mans. Like, listen, pretend I'm Israel. I caught you pillow talking with your mans saying you want to kill my camp or you want to knock my block off. And I got your phone bugged saying you want to knock my block off. So do I wait for you to knock my block off, or do I go on the offense? Israel went on the offense. I'm not going to wait for you to knock my block off. That's the art of war. And I heard you saying the shit. You know what I'm saying? So you could think of, I'm just keeping it real simple. That's you want to have diplomacy, but you trying to have diplomacy and the other country or the dudes on the other block, however way you understand it, right? The other country or the dudes on the other block, I got you on the phone and you went on Twitter saying you're gonna knock my block off. So do I stay on the defense? Yes, I gotta stay on the defense. They got up the Iron Dome, even though it was looking like the Styrofoam Dome a couple times, but for the most part, it knocked out all the missiles. So we still can call it the Iron Dome. You know what I'm saying? Now, Israel put up the Iron Dome. They're sending missiles in residential areas and shit like that, trying to protect. So for the most part, the dome protected the people. Now, a lot of shit got through. A lot of those bombs got through. But for the most part, we caught you pillow talking, and you pillow talking, you on Twitter. We got intel. Intel is basically we got your phones bugged. We got your phones bugged. We got all your leaders bugged, saying that death to Israel. Of course we gonna take y'all motherfuckers out. That's how I view it. That's how I view it. We gotta take you the fuck out. You already said you gonna take us out. We gotta take you out. I catch a motherfucker. That's like anybody else, right? You catch somebody saying that's how. Now I can't say that's how the streets work because these some dumb motherfuckers in these streets doing dumb shit, right? But just use common sense, right? I find out that you're going to kill me. What am I going to do, right? I can't go to the cops. Like, I'm a whole country and you're a whole country, right? I gotta ask you, hey, did you say you're gonna kill me? When you tell me to kick rocks, I'm either gonna wait for you to send some shit over, or I'm gonna send some shit over. And we already told you you can't have nuclear weapons. We already told you that. You got too many terrorists, suicide bombers, all type of shit. We already told you that you can't have nuclear weapons. So they told the United States to kick rocks, and then because Israel is close to them, right? But if like I said, it's just using basic common sense. If Israel develops intercontinental ballistic missiles, I believe that's the right term. Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Otherwise, I can send your shit. That shit can go from Iran to New York or Philly or DC from Iran. Do you want them now? For people that are going to protest against this, right? Do you want them to have those type of weapons? And you sitting up in New York, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm in Philly, I'm sitting in Philly eating a motherfucking cheesesteak, and the fucking nuclear bomb is on the way. That'll be the last cheesesteak you ever eat, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Do you want that coming over here? The answer is no, right? So when I see Donald Trump pull the trigger this fast, pause. When I see him pull the trigger this fast, I don't know if I want Iran to have fucking nuclear missiles either. Do you want Iran to have a nuke? You know what I'm saying? And then Israel's right next to them. I said that's like Texas and California. That's like Texas telling California, yeah, we about the nuclear popcorn your ass. You know what I'm saying? We about the microwave pizza, you dumbass, with no pepperoni, nigga. You know what I mean? Do you want them to have a nuclear bomb? Hell no. Hell fucking no. Let's see what they're saying right here. Hell fuck no.
Gee, that much, it's like, what is it, all caps or whatever? And but President Trump, let's just say he's been known to send texts. All right. I think it's a way of communication he's very comfortable with. And when he puts that in there, that's a message aimed directly at the Iranian regime, which is a way of saying, hey, look, you need to come to the negotiating table and figure this out. And, basically, the door's open if you choose to go this way. The fact the Iranian regime played games with that 60-day window where they could have negotiated something. And of course, the Iranians, they said, nope, unless we're allowed to keep doing everything we want to do, then we won't agree to anything.
Them 60
and
days.
Of course, now they paid that price.
So this shit been on the table the whole time.
And and you have to remember, for the Iranian regime, over the top combative rhetoric and politics is kind of what keeps them in power. If they weren't able to say death to America and pledge to the destruction of Israel, they would have a very small vocabulary, because that's pretty much what they say.
Y'all got to go there, motherfucker.
So they kind of have to do that. That's part of their, if you will, their id, if you will, their self-identification is being this revolutionary Shiite regime that is trying to take over the Middle East and everything else. That's kind of who they are. And so the time for peace
is done.
That's very difficult. And again, if they agree to everything, again, they're going to have to look to the Iranian people, who are going to look at them and say, so exactly what are you again? You can't protect us. You can't do all these other things. We're certainly not going to, maintain a reasonable standard of living with you in power. And now you have to abandon everything you've been saying for the last 45 years plus. So what exactly are you? And so that's going to be difficult, but that's exactly what it is. It's not just an agreement. They're going to have to come to what would essentially be a peace agreement, which is a significant agreement which a number of parties would have to buy off on, not just the U.S., but Israel and others would have to buy off on, which would eliminate Iran as a threat in the region and worldwide. And there would probably be some conditions put in there which really get into imposing on Iranian sovereignty, if you will, some of the sovereign control that they have within the country, which to date, that has been a big red line for the Iranians. They just won't agree to stuff like that.
That shit is about to be
part of the reason is because it goes to their core identity of what the regime represents. And I'm sure they're afraid that if they actually agree to this thing, it could be the tipping point where the regime no longer.
Listen, the way the way Israel, listen, the way they just took out Iran, it's about to be Isran. We ran up in your shit. So listen, the way Israel is over there and we just dropped them bombs, Iran is about to be Isran. We ranning up in your shit. Like, cause it's like, motherfucker told you you can't have nuclear weapons. And you went in the basement. They started building shit in the mountains, trying to sneak and do that shit. And we just took that shit out. And we already knew what that shit was. They like, damn. So they know where our shit is at. And the shit is on TV. Like, listen. Well, let's see what they talking about.
Nuclear facilities, including the Fordow nuclear facility deep underground outside of the Iranian capital of Tehran. The bottom line here is that people are talking about enrichment. They understand that this decision was made because the Iranians were increasing their uranium enrichment capabilities and increasing the purity closer and closer to weapons-grade material. And the concern was that the Iranian regime was just weeks away from being able to build a nuclear bomb. We've seen over the past 9 days, the country has the ability to strike major population centers here in Israel with ballistic missiles. So you can imagine that having a nuclear warhead that could ultimately be attached to a ballistic missile would clearly be a direct threat to the Jewish state. And that was why the Israelis said that they made the decision to start these strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities and against top IRGC officials. And clearly tonight, President Trump ordering these strikes against the Iranian regime's nuclear program because there was no off-ramp for diplomacy at this point. And so this is a historic moment in the Middle East tonight. And again, an opportunity for the region, as the president laid out in his statement, for peace in the future, because this is a region that understands peace through strength.
Trey Yingst reporting earlier today with Brett Baier. Hal Kempfer is still with me. We are 7 minutes away from expecting President Trump to address the nation.
Yo, y'all don't understand. I mean, you may understand, but you gotta really understand how important what just happened is, right? This shit, listen, those B-2 bombers, I just seen those literally on YouTube, right? So I just seen those literally like just as a thing that we could have. You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally just seen those. I just seen those like, oh shit, the United States is coming out with some stuff. You know what I mean? Like that type of time. Now they let you know that we just used the shit. So the Batman shit, the B-2 bomber that we've been all like, oh shit, United, we got some weaponry, don't we? They just used this shit. So this is historic. You know what I mean? So they pulled out the Batman shit. If you just now tuning in, Donald Trump dropped the bombs on Iran. The B-2 bomber, right? The B-2 bomber, the B-2 Spirit bomber, Blau, Cacao, dropping bombs on Iran. He told them, now it was a 60-day window. I'm thinking it was like a couple weeks to a month. They gave them a 60-day window to get rid of the nuclear bombs. So if I'm not mistaken, my man just said they gave them about 60. They gave them about 60 days. Like, hey man, you gotta get rid of the uranium. You can't have a nuclear weapon. They didn't want to listen. So Israel started taking out their generals and their higher ups. Now Donald J. Trump just dropped the motherfucking bomb, the B-2 Spirit bomber, 200 feet. It says it'll drop 200 feet before it explodes. So 200 feet before the motherfucker explodes and blows up your dumb ass. He told him, leave. Hey, put down the nuclear weapons. Now, pretty soon here, Donald Trump is about to go live. So pretty soon, Donald Trump is about to go live to break down this shit.
One of the globe's most important sea lanes for the amount of time that they had. If this is taken off, it changes the entire strategic picture of the Middle East, because Iran is so important as a provider of oil and and also in terms of location for China, because they're such an important supporter of Russia in providing them drones and ballistic missiles and everything else. This could be one of those pivotal points where we see a big change, the second, third order effects of what just happened. And we could say this completely changed the map across the world in terms of strategic balance of power. It could be something that big, but then again, we'll have to see.
Regime change keeps coming up a lot. What does our largely American audience need to know about the Iranian regime? And conversely, what do they need to know about the general Iranian
fucked up right now
public at large, the populace?
Well, first thing is the Iranian public at large, about 89% of them can't stand the regime. They hate them. They've tried multiple times on the streets, to basically overthrow, basically create enough social gravitas to overthrow a regime. They have not been able to pull that off. And the regime has been absolutely horrific in its response, sweeping people off the streets, doing these executions, very public way of making a point, imprisoning political dissenters, everything. I mean, they're a very unpopular regime for a lot of all the reasons that a regime would be very unpopular. They're also this regime that does not allow any sort of free elections or anything we consider. They scope in the elections, so only the parties or the candidates that they will hand pick are ever allowed to show up on the ballot, and then they pretty much put their thumb on the scale to make sure that whomever they want is a person that's elected. And then over the government is this, the supreme leader and his council, which are all a bunch of theocrats.
That part was none of our business.
Basically control the country. So that's what it is, and it's this Shiite extremist belief.
So listen to what he's saying. That part was never none of our business. The way you want to run your country and all this and that. What is our business is the nuclear weapons. Told you to put down the nuclear weapons.
Since 1979, when they overthrew the Shah of Iran, they have basically brand on two things: destruction of Israel and death to America. That's their two favorite bumper sticker phrases. That's what they kind of identify with.
Oh, hell no.
And this constant never-ending struggle, some would say war, if you will, although technically in Arabic, well, I should say jihad is an Arabic term, and jihad actually means struggle. It doesn't always mean war per se, although when we say jihad, we normally mean war. And I should mention that Arabic is not the predominant language in Iran. It's actually Farsi, so maybe it's kind of a moot point. But anyway, they have kind of built their brand on this thing, that they have this constant struggle, conflict, whatever, with Israel and the West. And part of that goes back into the history of Iran. The Shah of Iran, when he came into power in 1953, kind of the U.S. and Great Britain were behind getting him into power because there was another guy in there who we felt was too favorable, or was basically leaning towards the Soviet Union, different era, Cold War. I don't want to get into all the details, but the feeling was that the U.S. had basically, fomented a coup to put the Shah into power. They put the Shah in power, and they've aimed everything at the West. They've been anti-Western the entire time. And so that's what that is. That's what that regime is all about. And so right now, all the things that underlie that regime, all the things that underlie, has now taken the thing they've always pointed at. It's like, we might be able to develop a nuclear weapon. We might be a member of the nuclear club. We might be, quote, invincible because we have nuclear capability. that's what they've kind of held out for a very long period of time. Well, in one fell swoop, we went in there and eliminated their capability to do that, as near as we can tell right now.
One fell swoop.
And that's going to have, along with Israel literally controlling the skies over Iran, that has, some significant impact on the ability of this regime to maintain itself in power.
Al, we appreciate your time. I will say that it's now 10 o'clock Eastern time. We anticipate that the president will step up to this podium any moment now. We don't know if he's going to come out any second now, any minute now, but I'm going to keep you on the line here, Hal, until we see President Trump.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say, we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Short and sweet. They out of there. Damn. Took the motherfuckers out of there. Yo. After you bomb a motherfucker, that's the walk away after you just bomb somebody. Pretty much what we just witnessed. So this is Hood Action News Live. So Donald J. Trump, he just did a short and sweet announcement. Now, you notice he's talking in past tense. So we already bombed Iran, and he said there's more facilities left for us to bomb. They've been saying death to Israel in the United States for a long time, right? And so now that's the pillow talking part of it, right? That's the pillow talking. So they've been talking shit, pillow talking for a long time. Now, when I say pillow talking, they've been doing this on social media, and they've also been doing this behind closed doors, like talking on the phone. So Iran's military officials, we got intel, we got your shit bugged. Pretty much that's what intel is. They've been talking shit for a long time. Now I'm just keeping it surface level. Iran has been talking shit for a long time, right? Death to America, death to Israel, and on top of that, there you go. Public service motherfucking announcement. So public service announcement, right? So they've been saying death to Israel and all these different things for years. Now, Donald Trump, he, like I said, he told them, like, yo, it was a 60-day window, right? 60 and 90-day window, right? He told them, like, listen, you cannot have nuclear weapons. So on top of them sending missiles over to Israel, we told them, yo, you gotta get rid of the nuclear weapons. They didn't want to listen. A hard head makes a soft ass. So we send the B-2 Spirit bombers over and bomb the shit out of Iran. Now, we didn't bomb the whole Iran. We just bombed the nuclear facilities. But now Israel, they're taking out Iran's leaders and shit like that. Told you fucking so. So let me ask you a question. Like the guy commented earlier, are y'all going to protest against this? I don't see how you would listen. He said people are going to protest like even more now. I don't see why you would protest this after they said death to America and death to Israel. Well, shit, we American, right? They said death to America. Now, I know that they said death to Israel because I reported on this, but I wasn't clear if they said death to America, right? Now they, allegedly they said they've been saying death to America for a long time. So on top of that, we caught you pillow talking already, right? So you can't attack somebody for pillow talking. That's like you being on the phone with your homie, like, yeah, when I see him, I'm gonna punch him in his face, right? You can't really attack somebody for that. But after I tell you to put down your nuclear weapons and you start sending missiles over to another country and you still don't want to put down your nuclear weapons, gotta go. B-2 bomber time. The B-2 bomber time. The B-2 bomber time. Earlier in the video, we went over the B-2 bomber. I'm gonna show it to you again. I'm gonna show you how this looks. I'm gonna show you how the B-2 bomber looks. Full Batman shit. Right? Look like the Batman plane. Shit is literally the Batman plane. Like, it's like literally the Batman plane. So the B-2 bomber, right? Told y'all to put down the nuclear weapons. Now they bombed all their nuclear facilities, went and came back. The pilot is probably in the strip club right now. You know what I mean? Whatever pilot did this went over there, bombed their shit, and he's probably back in the strip club right now. You know what I mean? Shout out to the pilot for making it safe. But this sounds harsh, but it's going to be them or us. So, ladies, if you logging in right now and you can't take this harshness, it's going to be them or us, right? If you're going to tell me death to the United States and you want nuclear weapons, and I catch you pillow talking, saying death to Israel, death to the United States, we gotta fucking take you out. Like, we gotta take you out. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the art of war. That's why we walk around and you ever to go to the store and buy a fucking Coca-Cola and a cheeseburger and shit. All this American shit we do. You want to put rims on your fucking car. You got graduations. That's why these simple freedoms come from decisions like this. So I'm gonna repeat that again. See this B-2 bomber on my screen? These simple freedoms that we have come from like hair trigger split second decisions that you have to make, or we'll all fucking die. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, whoever's in office has to make hair trigger. You ever heard of hair trigger gun? A hair trigger where you touch it and it goes off. Sometimes you got to make hair trigger decisions, or we'll all die. If you now, before I end this, right, I want to look at the map. I want to look at the world map real fast, right? Let's look at the world map real fast. And I want to show you something real fast. So let me pull up a map. No, I don't want to. So I'm gonna pull up a world map real fast. Let me see. Let me find a little good map. I want to pull up a map. I want to show you. Let me see. I want you to be able to see this shit though. So let me try to enlarge this. I want to show you where Iran is, right? And I want to show you so let me pull this up on my screen. I'm gonna show you where Iran is, right? If they were able to effectively create an intercontinental nuclear weapon, which basically means their shit could hit our shit. That's basically what that means. It's a straight shot. If you look at the map, yo. I would be just looking at the map. I wouldn't want them to have a nuclear weapon. So let me pull this shit up. So yo, let me show you this. So look at my map right here, right? Look at my shitty world map. So look at my world map right here, right? Let me go to. So I don't know if you can see my arrow. Let me make sure you can see my arrow right there. See the little finger shit. So look at where Iran is, right? Iran, if you had a nuclear weapon, it's a straight shot. I mean, it's a straight line to like New York, Philly, DC, to the East Coast. So if you had a nuclear weapon, it's a straight line from Iran. It's literally a straight line, right? It's a straight line to our military bases like Norfolk and all of that shit. It's a straight line across. They don't even have to swerve. They can just shoot. They can shoot the missile in a straight line. So there's nowhere in the world I would want Iran to have nuclear ballistic missiles. Is no way, right? No way, shape, or form. I mean, they could shoot that shit right over, pretty much right over the Mediterranean Sea, right? It would go over Iraq, the Mediterranean Sea, and over Spain. Once it passed Spain, it's a wrap. So I'll repeat that again. If Iran had intercontinental ballistic nuclear weapons, which means their shit could hit our shit, it's a straight line. And listen, most of it, if you look at the map, most of it, if they shot a nuclear bomb, most of it would go over the Mediterranean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. The only two countries that missile would go over, let me see something, is Iraq, maybe a little bit of Turkey, Spain, like Spain and Portugal. After that nuclear bomb leaves Spain, it's just over the Atlantic Ocean. We would have to intercept it, which I believe we will be able to do. But who wants a dark nuclear cloud over the Atlantic Ocean? And then you got like you don't want that shit. You don't want it to be snowing for 40 days, 40 nights. Hint, hint. Like you don't want it to be raining for weeks. You know what I'm saying? You don't want like nuclear fallout and shit like that. So I understand. You can look at the map. Like I said, look at the map. You don't want them to have no nuclear bomb. It's a straight shot. They don't have to go left. They don't got to go right. They just shoot that shit straight and it could hit the United States. So like I said, we send the B-2 Spirit bomber over and we took it out. And that's that. And that's that. Now I'm about to watch the game tomorrow. So the bomber went over there. Listen, the bomber went over there. So that pilot went over there, dropped that bomb, and he's back now. But listen, make sure you like, share, subscribe. This has been a wild week, a wild night. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. It's hoodactionnews.com. I did not know that Donald Trump was going to speak. So we got a chance, on this live, if you rewind it, we got a chance to hear Donald Trump actually speak to find out what the fuck is going on. Basically, Donald J, what the fuck is going on, right? Are you going to drop the bomb or not? The bomb has been dropped. Now the pilots are back. Now we're going to keep an eye on what's going to go on next. But for the most part, we took out their nuclear facilities. So for now, you can bust a cigar out because they are, like I said, Iran's already been saying death to the United States, death to Israel. We're not in Israel, we're the United States, but it's been saying death to Israel and the United States. But we're in the United States. We care about you saying death to the United States, and you didn't want to get rid of your nuclear weapons. So my man sent the Batman shit over there, took your shit out, told you to, gave you 90 days. Sorry, right? It's your boy Post. I'm Izzo.